In a world that never stops talking, shut up! Shut the fuck up. Your silence is your superpower. I am on TikTok all the time, Life with Oatmeal TikTok, and there's always these pieces of content about going no contact. The best thing about going no contact is you regain your power, and it's the same thing with being silent. You see, our silence is so uncomfortable because when you're silent, you only have your thoughts. You only have your perception of what you think someone else is thinking, and you want to talk to them. You want to get it out. You want to express. That's where silence is your superpower. And silence truly comes from solitude. My experience with this is when someone close to me passed away, and I had just moved to the island of Maui. I was in my home with myself, with my thoughts, crying, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was able to experience and process the grief with myself. And this is why being in solitude, being silent, listening to your thoughts is your superpower. And this is what we're going to talk about in this video. Solitude isn't about just being alone. It's about reclaiming your power. When you're comfortable with just you, when you're comfortable with your thoughts, when you're comfortable with silence, you are outside of the norm because most people aren't. Did you see all the people during COVID that just felt so uncomfortable because they were trapped inside their house? This is why silence and solitude is your superpower. Let me explain what solitude is. First of all, let me explain what solitude is not. Solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is a conscious choice. A conscious choice to spend time with yourself, to learn yourself, to understand yourself, to sit with those thoughts within yourself. And by doing that, you get to hear what's going on. You get to hear how your inner world is possibly reflecting on your outer world. But most importantly, you become comfortable with yourself. And most people are not even comfortable with just being by themselves. And this is why your solitude is your superpower. Often solitude is misconstrued as loneliness or being a hermit or not being in the streets. No. When you are silent and consciously choosing to be with yourself, not by yourself, you're learning you. You're learning how to be comfortable with you. You're learning really the discomfort that it takes to be just with yourself, not with anyone else, not just saying your thoughts to other people, actually hearing your thoughts, releasing your thoughts, understanding that a lot of times we're running from our silence within ourselves. Let's break this down. Healthy solitude versus disconnected, I don't want to be around people. I've had both. Being a flight attendant was loud. Being on the plane, trapped in a metal tube, couldn't get away from people. I often did not want to be around people. But what I learned was when I was in my solitude, the first few hours or the first few days was really, I didn't want to be bothered with people. But then it became such a comfort with myself, such a comfort of making a cup of tea, such a comfort of taking a beautiful bath or reorganizing my closet or choosing to watch a program or not watching anything at all. You see, when you're healthily in your solitude era, you get to learn you, but you also understand that being with yourself is your best friend. Sometimes just sitting in your home or cleaning or having a drink or a cup of tea or just reading a book is the connectivity you need with yourself. So there is a difference between choosing conscious solitude and being disconnected and not wanting to connect with people. Now, one can lead to the other. Oftentimes when we're so disconnected, we learn to connect with ourselves. It all leads back to us, which is the most beautiful part of solitude. Secondly, solitude unleashes creativity. I remember always being the most creative when I was with myself, using pastels, watercolors, oil painting, making my vision boards, knitting, sewing, cooking. These things are often done with ourselves. However, being in that silent solitude allows us to open up our own creativity. So use your conscious solitude to open up your creativity. Next, solitude will quiet your mind. Often we just want it quiet because there's so much going on. We put our headphones on, we're talking to people at our jobs, and it is so refreshing to sit and not hear anything, or to hear a beautiful bubble bath, or to hear crystal sound bowls, which I love. You see, when you sit in your solitude, you get to silence the chatter. You get to silence the chatter. And when you silence the chatter, you get to connect with yourself. And this is a superpower. Disconnecting from social media will help, because often we are just putting in our headphones, turning on the TV, streaming on our laptop, going onto social media to not have silence. That includes social media, because that's chatter. Make a conscious effort to get off. Maybe for a day. Start with 3 hours. Build up to a weekend. Sometimes it may be even a whole week, a month, 6 months. However, learn to utilize this solitude as your way to connect with yourself and quiet your mind. Here's how to embrace solitude. Be gentle with yourself. Often when it's quiet, we hear all of the chatter that's in our brains of we're not good enough, we're not going anywhere, we don't like our jobs, we don't like ourselves, we should lose some weight. Be gentle with yourself. This is the superpower of being in solitude, because you can hear what's going on. So whatever that comes up, write it down and release it. Be gentle. You are beautiful. You are worthy. That is okay. This is the superpower of solitude, to allow yourself to hear what's going on inside that is often reflecting on the outside. But when you hear these thoughts, be gentle with yourself. Let them pass. They aren't you. They're just some running dialogue that is trying to sway you in some way. This is the power of solitude. You get to hear it and you can erase it. Create a ritual around solitude. Set aside a time during the week. Maybe it's the end of the week, a Friday or a Saturday. I like my silent Saturdays, where I actually don't listen to anything. I will clean, I will cook, I will purposely make the silent retreat of that day my ritual. Light some candles, clean, drink water, put on a face mask. Include the silence into your ritual to further connect with yourself. However, write it down. Put it in your notes app. Put it in your calendar that this is my silent day. Let other people know. Maybe they will join in on this ritual of your silent Saturday or your silent end of the day, which may be the last 3 or 4 hours of the day. Use this solitude to connect to yourself. Building inner strength through solitude. Now, when I said these words will come up in your brain, it's all of your inner dialogue, which isn't true. This could be from childhood, 10 years ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. Once you hear what's going on, you can then create a plan to release it. Spending time by yourself enables you to break through all of the noise. I know for myself, time with solitude has made me a much more confident person, because I trust in what I am. I know what's going on in my mind. I write it down, I throw it out. I may even burn the piece of paper. But often we will run from that solitude, run towards it, sit in silence, understand that you are building your self-resilience by not listening to anything but yourself. And it's a beautiful act of self-care. So what have we learned? We've learned that solitude is not self-confinement. Solitude is choosing to be with yourself and your thoughts to build your inner resilience. We've learned the benefits of solitude, to understand yourself, to understand what is running through your mind, to become more comfortable with yourself, to listen to yourself and to be gentle with yourself. We've learned that solitude boosts our creativity because you're not bored, you're just looking for a creative outlet. Pull out those crayons, pull out those markers, pull out that paint, journal, dance, cook, put on a face mask, unleash your creativity because your body, your mind, and your soul needs it. Solitude increases mental focus. Once you can quiet the noise, quiet those negative thoughts, you can cut through anything, become disciplined, and understand you are unstoppable. We've learned to embrace our solitude, and whatever comes up, be gentle with yourself. Whatever you hear yourself say about yourself isn't who you are. It's just a dialogue that is no longer you. Be gentle with yourself. Journal, tear up the paper, burn it. Understand what's going on within so you can reflect a brighter light outside of it. Our solitude increases our own resilience. Being alone is not punishment. It's actually a present. So when you're with yourself, understand you are the strongest you can be by understanding yourself and gifting yourself the present of solitude. I encourage you to make solitude an active present in your life. Write it in a journal. Plan it out every week for you to have quality time, quiet time to make yourself the brightest light you can be. Take this with you. Reflect on how you feel when you are with yourself. If you feel lonely, if you feel less than, that's okay. Journal it out. See where that comes from. Because the truth is, once you master yourself, there's probably nowhere else you want to be. Truthfully. Where else would you want to be? But with yourself. Once you learn yourself. Incorporate this into your daily routine. Get a journal and have it be your quiet journal where you write your thoughts. Do this and watch your progress. Watch yourself bloom and watch yourself grow. The point is to grow into the best version of you.